My name is Melanie, and I'm 31 years old now. I grew up in Cherry Hills Village, one of those fancy suburbs in Denver where everyone had huge houses and perfectly trimmed lawns. Our house had 6 bedrooms, more space than any family actually needed. There was me, my older brother Ethan, and our parents, Robert and Deborah. Dad worked as a financial director at some Fortune 500 tech company, the kind of job where he wore expensive suits and talked about quarterly earnings at dinner. Mom used to be a TV presenter back in the day, but by the time I was born, she'd moved on to philanthropy and fundraising events. Ethan was 4 years older than me, and from the moment I could understand what was happening around me, I knew he was the golden child. Our parents treated him like he was destined for greatness, like every little thing he did deserved a parade. I was just there. The walls were covered with Ethan's trophies and photographs, soccer trophies, debate team awards, academic certificates. All of it was displayed like we lived in a museum dedicated to him. My awards were shoved in a cardboard box in the attic, all of it just sitting there in the dust. I remember my 10th birthday like it was yesterday. I woke up that morning excited because double digits felt like a big deal. I went downstairs expecting at least a card or maybe pancakes, but Mom and Dad were in the kitchen arguing about what color jersey Ethan should wear for his upcoming soccer tournament. They didn't even look at me when I walked in. I sat at the table eating cereal by myself, waiting for someone to remember. Hours passed. They drove to 3 different sporting goods stores that day, debating the merits of different brands. I stayed home and watched TV. It wasn't until almost 9 at night when I was all ready in my pajamas that Mom suddenly gasped and said, "Oh my God, it's Melanie's birthday." Dad looked up from his laptop and said, "We'll get you something nice next week, sweetie. Promise." They never did. When I was 12, Ethan made the varsity baseball team as a freshman. My parents threw a party. They rented a tent, hired a caterer, invited half the neighborhood. That same year, I won first place in the school science fair with a project on water filtration that took me 3 months to complete. Mom glanced at the ribbon and said, "That's nice, honey," before going back to planning Ethan's graduation party, which was still 2 years away. But birthdays and school achievements weren't even the worst of it. Christmas was its own special kind of nightmare. When I was 14, Christmas morning came, and I woke up to find my parents loading suitcases into the car. Ethan was already in the front seat wearing new clothes I'd never seen before. "Where are you going?" I asked. "Las Vegas," Mom said, not even looking guilty about it. "Ethan's been working so hard. He deserves a real vacation." "What about me?" Dad sighed like I was being unreasonable. "Your grandmother will be here in an hour. You'll have a nice, quiet Christmas with her." They left. I spent Christmas with Grandma, who was the only person in the family who ever seemed to notice I existed. She made cookies, and we watched old movies, and she never once mentioned Ethan's name. I loved her for that. The next year, Christmas came around again. I tried not to get my hopes up, but I was 15 and stupid enough to think maybe things would be different. Christmas morning, I came downstairs to find Ethan opening present after present. A new laptop. Not just any laptop, but the newest model that everyone at school wanted. It probably cost $2,000. He also got a leather jacket, a watch, concert tickets, and a bunch of other stuff. Then Mom handed me an envelope. Inside was a card. Just a card. It had a picture of a snowman on it and a generic Merry Christmas message printed inside. No money, no gift card, nothing. Just a card. I stared at it, then looked at the mountain of boxes around Ethan. "This isn't fair," I said. "Ethan gets all this expensive stuff and I get a card." "Ethan is in college," Dad said. Like that explained everything. These things are important for him. "Don't be petty, Melanie. It's not attractive to track the cost of other people's gifts." I went back to my room and cried. Grandma called later that day and I told her everything. She said she was sorry and I believed her because she was the only one who ever was. It became a pattern. Every Christmas, Ethan got incredible gifts. A car when he turned 21, trips to Europe with his girlfriend, designer clothes, electronics, you name it. And every Christmas, I got a card. Sometimes they'd write a little message inside about how I needed to work harder or be more grateful for what I had. One year, the card just said, "Try not to envy your brother. It's not his fault he's successful." I stopped caring after a while, or at least I told myself I did. When I turned 18, I got accepted to the University of Colorado at Boulder. I packed my stuff, moved into the dorms, and barely looked back. I called home maybe once a month, usually when Mom texted asking why I never checked in. The conversations were always the same. She'd spend 20 minutes talking about Ethan's internships or his grades or his new apartment, and then she'd ask me how school was going. Before I could answer more than a sentence or two, she'd remember something else about Ethan and we'd be back to talking about him. I stopped expecting anything different, but even though I'd moved out and started my own life, some stupid part of me still wanted to be included in family stuff. Christmas especially, I missed the idea of it, even if the reality had always sucked. The first year I was at Boulder, I called Mom in early December. "I was thinking I'd come home for Christmas," I said. "I don't have any exams after the 15th, so I could stay for a week or so." There was a long pause. "Actually, Melanie, it might be better if you stayed at school this year," Mom said. "Maybe celebrate with your friends from the dorm. Ethan's fiance's family is coming. It'll be a full house, you understand? There are 6 bedrooms. It's just better this way. You'd feel out of place anyway." I didn't argue. What was the point? I drove to Denver anyway that Christmas, but I stayed with Grandma. I didn't even drive past my parents' house. Later, I saw photos on Mom's Facebook, everyone smiling around the tree, glasses of wine raised, the caption reading, "Our whole beloved family, together for the holidays." I wasn't in a single photo. After that, I stopped asking to come home and they stopped inviting me. I graduated with honors 3 years later. I got a job at Horizon Marketing Group right here in Denver, and I worked my ass off. 3 years after that, I got recruited by Summit Creative Solutions, one of the best marketing companies in the country. Real work, real projects, real money. But my family didn't know any of it because they never asked. I stayed in touch with my family through a group chat where Mom would post photos of Ethan and his wife Amanda at charity galas or wine tastings or whatever the hell they were doing that week. Ethan had gotten married a few years back. I wasn't invited to the wedding. Mom said it was a small ceremony, just close family. I saw the photos later. There were at least 150 people there. The chat was always the same. Mom posting about Ethan's latest achievement. Dad chiming in with how proud he was. Ethan being falsely modest about it all. I'd scroll through and not say anything. What was there to say? Meanwhile, I was actually doing pretty well. At Summit Creative Solutions, I'd worked my way up from a junior strategist to leading major campaigns. Nobody handed me anything. I put in 70-hour weeks. I pitched ideas that scared me. I took on projects other people didn't want to touch, and it paid off. When I was 31, I landed the biggest project of my career. A major sports company wanted to rebrand for the youth market, and they gave me complete creative control. I spent 6 months on it, building a team, researching trends, testing campaigns. When we launched, the results were insane. Sales jumped 37% in the first quarter. The CEO called me into his office and told me I'd done something special. 2 weeks later, I got a bonus, $90,000. I stared at the number in my bank account for a solid 10 minutes. I'd never seen that much money at once in my life. My first thought was to tell someone, to celebrate. But who? My friends from work would be happy for me, sure, but it felt like something you should share with family. Then I remembered the group chat from a few days earlier. Dad had asked me, "Why haven't you achieved anything significant in your career yet? You're 31, Melanie. Ethan was a senior analyst by your age." I'd wanted to type back that I'd been promoted 3 times, that I was leading campaigns for national brands, that my salary was well into 6 figures. But what was the point? They didn't care. They'd never cared. So I didn't tell them about the bonus. I just let it sit there in my account while I decided what to do with it. November rolled around and the family chat started buzzing again. Thanksgiving plans, Mom posting recipes she'd found, Dad talking about getting the good wine out of the cellar. Then the big announcement came. Ethan had been promoted to senior manager at his investment bank. Dad's message was embarrassing to read. "This is the proudest moment of my life. My son, a senior manager at 35. I always knew you'd do great things, Ethan." A few days later, Mom sent a message directly to me in the group chat. "Melanie, could you buy Ethan a nice watch for his promotion? Something in the $1,500 range. Have it couriered to our house by Thanksgiving. Thanks, sweetie." I read the message 3 times. She didn't ask if I could afford it. She didn't say please. She just assumed I'd do it. Buy an expensive gift for the brother who'd never bought me anything, for parents who'd never celebrated a single one of my achievements. I closed the chat and didn't respond. That night, I sat on my couch with a bottle of wine and started scrolling through real estate listings. Then I saw it. A house in the mountains of Colorado, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a huge deck overlooking pine trees and valleys. The photos made it look like something out of a magazine. The price was $360,000. I could afford the down payment with my bonus. The mortgage would be manageable with my salary, and the more I looked at it, the more I wanted it. Not as an investment, not as a rental property. I wanted it for me, a place that was completely mine, where nobody could tell me I didn't deserve to be there. I found the listing agent's number and called. Her name was Michelle, and she answered on the second ring. Within an hour, we were on a video call, and she was giving me a virtual tour. The house was even better than the photos. It had this huge stone fireplace, windows that let in so much light, and a kitchen that looked out onto the mountains. "I want to buy it," I said. Michelle laughed. "You want to think about it first? Maybe come see it in person." "No, I want it. How fast can we move?" She walked me through the process. I signed the purchase offer that night and transferred the deposit the next morning. It was crazy and impulsive, and I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I was doing something big without asking for permission or approval from anyone. 3 weeks before Christmas, I signed the final documents and got the keys. I drove up to the house alone, unlocked the door, and just stood there in the empty living room. There was a built-in kitchen, but otherwise the place was bare. I walked through every room, touched the walls, looked out every window. This was mine. Over the next 3 weeks, I threw myself into making the house feel like home. I painted the kitchen cabinets a soft gray, replaced all the light fixtures with ones that didn't look like they were from the 90s, and spent an entire weekend building furniture from boxes. I bought a couch, a dining table, beds for the guest rooms, rugs, curtains, everything. I worked on it every evening after my regular job and all day on weekends. By December 21st, the house was done. It looked incredible. I took photos and posted them on Instagram. The caption was simple: "I deserved my own house. Best Christmas gift I could ask for." An hour later, my phone started blowing up. Messages from Mom, Dad, and Ethan, all asking the same thing. "What is this? Whose house is that? Where did you get the money?" I read through them with a smile and didn't respond to a single one. Another hour passed. Then Mom sent another message. "Family dinner, December 23rd, 7 p.m. This is not optional." I thought about ignoring that too, but honestly, I was curious. I wanted to see their faces when I told them the truth. December 23rd came, and I drove to my parents' house. I rang the doorbell and Dad answered. He didn't say hello or ask how I was doing. He just looked at me with this stern expression and said, "Living room now." Mom and Ethan were already sitting there. Ethan had his arms crossed, and Mom looked like she'd been crying, which was her favorite manipulation tactic. I sat down in the chair across from them and waited. "Whose house is that?" Dad asked immediately. I smiled. "Mine. I bought it with the $90,000 bonus I got from work." The room went silent. Mom's mouth actually fell open. "That's impossible," she said. "You can't earn that much. You're just a manager." Actually, if any of you had bothered to ask about my life in the past decade, you'd know I work for Summit Creative Solutions, one of the most successful marketing companies in the country. I lead major campaigns. I've been promoted multiple times, My salary is significantly above the national average. The bonus was for a rebranding project that increased client sales by 37% in 1 quarter. Dad looked like he'd been slapped. Ethan just stared at me. "You should have consulted us before making such a large purchase," Ethan said finally. "You can't just spend money like that without family input." I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. "What's funny?" Ethan snapped. "You thinking I need your permission to spend my own money?" "This is serious," Ethan said. "We're family. We make big decisions together." "Oh, like you included me in your wedding or any of your decisions ever." Mom jumped in. "This attitude is exactly why we're having this conversation. You've become selfish, Melanie. That house is too big for one person. We should celebrate Christmas there this year, all of us together. No, I'm not inviting you to my house." Ethan leaned forward. "Amanda's pregnant. She's been dreaming about a house like that. It would be perfect for us, especially with the baby coming. You should let us stay there." I felt like I'd been punched. "You want to live in my house?" "Just until after the baby's born," Ethan said like he was being reasonable. "Maybe 6 months or so. You have 3 bedrooms. You don't need all that space." Mom nodded. "It makes sense, Melanie. You're alone and they're starting a family. It's what family does. They help each other. Help each other." I stood up. "When have any of you ever helped me?" "We raised you," Dad said. "We gave you everything. You gave Ethan everything. You gave me cards and told me to stop being jealous." "That's not fair," Mom said. "We treated both of you well. You forgot my 10th birthday because you were buying Ethan soccer jerseys. You took him to Las Vegas for Christmas and left me with Grandma. You gave him cars and trips to Europe, and you gave me cards telling me not to envy him. You didn't invite me to Thanksgiving or Christmas for 13 years. Don't you dare tell me you treated us the same." The room went quiet again. Then Dad stood up and his voice went cold. "If you want to restore your relationship with this family, you'll host Christmas at your new house. And you'll let your brother and his pregnant wife stay there rent-free for as long as they need." I looked at each of them. Mom with her fake tears. Dad with his entitled expression. Ethan sitting there like he deserved everything I'd worked for. "You didn't invite me to Thanksgiving this year," I said quietly. "You didn't invite me to Christmas. You haven't invited me to anything in over a decade, and now you want to use my house." "This is about family," Mom said. "No, I'm done. I don't need your approval anymore. I'm not hosting Christmas for you. I'm not giving Ethan my house. I'm not coming to your celebrations. I'm done with all of it." I turned and walked toward the door. "Melanie," Dad shouted, "you walk out that door and you're choosing to cut ties with this family." I stopped and looked back at them. "You cut ties with me years ago. You just never noticed because you were too busy worshiping Ethan." I left. They were all yelling behind me, but I didn't stop. I got in my car and drove back to my apartment in the city. My phone started ringing immediately. Mom, Dad, Ethan, all of them calling over and over. I ignored every call. The messages started coming in. Dad saying I was being unreasonable. Mom saying I was breaking her heart. Ethan saying I owed it to him to share what I had, because that's what siblings do. I blocked all their numbers and deleted the family chat. That night, I called my friends and invited them to my mountain house for Christmas. Then I called my cousins on my mom's side, the ones I actually liked. Within an hour, I had 15 people confirmed, real people who actually cared about me. Christmas came, and it was perfect. We cooked together, played games, sat by the fireplace, and laughed until our sides hurt. I posted photos on Instagram, genuine smiling photos of people who wanted to be there. Mom commented, "Nice to see you've forgotten your real family. So proud of your career that you've abandoned the people who raised you." I laughed and didn't respond. There was nothing to say to that kind of nonsense. New Year's Eve came, and I had plans. I drove to Grandma's house and picked her up. She was 83 and still sharp as ever. She grabbed her coat and didn't ask any questions until we were on the highway. "Where are we going?" she asked. "My mountain house. I want to show you." She smiled. I saw the photos online. Looked beautiful. The drive took about 2 hours. When we got there, Grandma walked through every room slowly, touching the furniture, looking out the windows at the snow-covered trees. When she finished the tour, she sat down on the couch and patted the seat next to her. "Your parents called me," she said. "They said you cut off all contact with them. They wanted me to talk some sense into you. I didn't say anything. I told them they'd been ignoring you for 30 years and they should leave you alone." Grandma continued. "I also told them not to bother me with their nonsense again." I hugged her. She was the only one who'd ever really seen me. We spent New Year's Eve together, just the two of us. We made dinner, watched the ball drop on TV, and she told me stories about when she was young. It was the best New Year's I'd ever had. January came, and I settled back into work. My apartment in the city was convenient for the office, but I drove up to the mountain house every weekend. It became my escape, my place to breathe. Then 3 weeks into January, my assistant knocked on my office door looking nervous. "Your parents are here," she said. "They're asking to see you." My stomach dropped. "Tell them I'm in a meeting." I did. They said they'll wait. I looked at my computer screen and tried to think. I could have security escort them out, but that would cause a scene. Better to just get it over with. "Fine, tell them I'll meet them at the coffee shop across the street in 10 minutes. I grabbed my coat and walked over. Mom and Dad were already sitting at a corner table when I arrived. I sat down and didn't order anything. "This has gone on long enough," Dad said. We all overreacted. "It's time to move past this and reconcile." "Move past it," I repeated. "Yes," Mom said. "We're family. Families fight and then they make up. That's how it works." I stared at her. "You think this is just a fight?" "What else would it be?" Dad asked. "You ignored me my entire life. You forgot my birthdays. You gave Ethan everything and gave me cards. You didn't invite me to Christmas for 13 years. And the only reason you're here now is because you want something from me." Mom looked uncomfortable. "I saw photos of that house. It's very large for someone who lives alone." There it was. "And your brother and Amanda really need more space now with the baby coming," Dad added. "You should let them move in just for a little while." I couldn't believe it. Even after everything, they were still asking for this. "You came to my workplace to ask me to give Ethan my house." "Not give," Mom said quickly. "Just let them stay there. You're barely using it anyway. You have your apartment in the city. That house is mine. I bought it with money I earned. Ethan has a good job and a pregnant wife. He can buy his own house. He's saving for the baby," Dad said. "Medical expenses, furniture, all of that adds up. You could help him out." "The way you helped me out," I asked, "by forgetting I existed." "Stop being dramatic," Dad said. "We're here trying to mend this relationship and you're throwing it back in our faces." I stood up. "I don't want a relationship with you, any of you. You had 31 years to be parents to me and you chose not to. Now you want back in because I have something you want. The answer is no." "Melanie?" Mom started. "If you contact me again, if you come to my work again, if you show up at my apartment or my house, I will file for a restraining order. I'm not kidding. Leave me alone." I walked out before they could respond. My hands were shaking, but I felt lighter somehow, like I'd finally said everything I needed to say. They didn't contact me again after that. I heard through Grandma that Ethan and Amanda had their baby in March. A girl. I didn't send a gift. I didn't call. I felt nothing about it. Now it's been almost a year since that Christmas when everything changed. I still work at Summit Creative Solutions, and I'm doing better than ever. Got another promotion in June. My apartment in the city is comfortable, and my mountain house is my sanctuary. I go up there most weekends, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends. I've hosted dinner parties, game nights, even a small wedding for one of my cousins. My parents and Ethan occasionally post things on social media, family photos where they all look perfect, captions about being blessed. I'm never in any of them. I don't care. I have my own life now, one where I'm not constantly waiting for approval that will never come. Grandma comes up to visit once a month. We cook together and she tells me how proud she is of me. That's the only approval I need. Sometimes people ask if I miss my family. The honest answer is no. You can't miss something you never really had. What I have now is better. Peace, freedom, and a life that's completely my own. And that's worth more than all the Christmas presents and family dinners in the world. I deserved better than what they gave me. And now I have it. The end of the story.